Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we take complex financial documents and make them easy to understand. You know, sometimes the most important stories are hidden in plain sight. And today we've got a filing that hints at some interesting moves behind the scenes. Get ready for a breakdown that's less about legalese and more about what's actually happening with Alkermes, so buckle up and don't forget to join our Discord community. Linked in the description below. It's where we break down these filings even further and chat about all things corporate financing. Alkermes has been busy lately, and this report shows us some key developments that are shaping the company's future. We're going to dive into some legal agreements they've entered into and also touch on some patent news that could impact their products. First up, let's talk about a deal they made on September 9, 2025. Alkermes entered into an agreement with Amneal Pharmaceuticals. This is a pretty big deal because it's about supplying a generic version of their drug Vivitrol, which is used to treat opioid and alcohol dependence. This agreement allows Amneal to sell this authorized generic version in the United States for a year, starting from when a third party launches a similar generic version of their drug Vivitrol, which is used to treat opioid and alcohol dependence. This agreement allows Amneal to sell this authorized generic version in the United States for a year, starting from when a third party launches a similar generic version. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what this actually means for Alkermes under this deal. Alkermes' subsidiary will supply Amneal with a limited amount of the Vivitrol generic. This supply won't be unlimited, though it's capped at about 15% of the Vivitrol units sold. In 2024, Alkermes will get paid for supplying these products at more than just their cost, meaning they make a bit of profit on the supply itself. Plus, they're going to share the profits from selling these generic versions with Amneal. This is a way for Alkermes to benefit from their drug even as generic versions enter the market. This agreement also has some standard clauses for ending the deal. For example, if either party doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, or if Amneal decides to launch their own generic version of Vivitrol that isn't the one supplied by Alkermes, the agreement can be terminated. The deal essentially lasts until all profit-sharing payments between Alkermes and Amneal are completed. But that's not all. Alkermes is also fighting to protect their other important drug, Ibuprofen. This is a medication used to treat schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. In August, they filed patent infringement lawsuits against several companies, Teva, Apotex, and MSN. These companies have filed applications with the FDA to sell generic versions of Aloe and Alkermes believes these generics would infringe on their patents. The core of these lawsuits is that the generic drug makers are claiming Alkermes patents for Ibuprofen, which are set to expire between 2032 and 21, are either invalid, not enforceable, or that their generic versions won't actually step on those patent toes. Alkermes obviously disagree strongly. They plan to defend their intellectual property very aggressively. Here's where it gets interesting. By filing these lawsuits within 45 days of receiving those notices, Alkermes has triggered a 30-month delay on the FDA, approving the generic versions of Lybalvia. This is thanks to a law called the Hatch-Waxman Act. It's a common strategy for drug companies to buy more time to sell their brand name drugs at full price before cheaper generics arrive. And just to add another layer to this, on August 20th, Alkermes actually updated their lawsuit against one of the companies, Teva, to include an additional patent. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Alkermes seems to be navigating the complex world of drug patents and generic competition strategically. The Vivitrol deal with Amneal is a smart move. It allows Alkermes to generate some revenue from its drug even as generics become available, while also managing the transition. It's a way to capture a slice of the generic market without directly competing against themselves. Instead, they're partnering up, or directly competing against themselves. Instead, they're partnering up. The patent infringement actions for Libuvi show Alkermes' commitment to protecting its innovative products. These legal battles are crucial because they directly impact the exclusivity period for Libuvi and therefore its revenue potential. The success of these lawsuits could significantly extend the profitable life of this important medication. The fact that they're willing to fight so hard suggests they believe strongly in the validity of their patents and the value of Libuvi. Looking at the overall direction, Alkermes appears to be focused on maximizing the value of its existing portfolio, while also preparing for the inevitable entry of generics. The Vivitrol agreement is a proactive step for that product, and the Libuvi litigation demonstrates a defensive strategy for another key asset. One notable risk here is always the outcome of patent litigation. It's a complex and often lengthy process, and a loss could mean generic competition arrives much sooner, impacting revenue projections. However, Alkermes' aggressive approach indicates a calculated risk, and a belief in their legal position. On the other hand, a successful defense could solidify their market position for Libelvi. In my opinion, Alkermes is playing a smart game. They're not just sitting back and hoping for the best, they're actively managing their product life cycles and protecting their intellectual property. The Vidivora deal is a good example of how companies can adapt to market changes, and the Libelvi patent battles highlight their commitment to innovation and defending the fruits of their research and development. Overall, Alkermes seems to be in a solid position, demonstrating both strategic foresight in managing generic transitions and a robust defense of its core assets. What's your take on these moves? Do you think Alkermes will win these patent battles? And how will the Vidivora deal impact their bottom line? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and make sure you subscribe for similar insights into the corporate world. And remember to join our Discord community for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.